My name is Rob and I am in the 8th grade at UNAMI Middle School. My experiment was to test the effect of caffeine on plant growth. At the beginning of this project, I asked, how does caffeine affect plant growth? I believe that if the amount of caffeine in the soil is increased, then the plant will grow faster. To begin my experiment, I set up 4 pots filled with soil. As shown in the table, plant 1 was given no caffeine, plant 2 was given 1 ounce, plant 3 received 2 ounces, and plant 4 was given 3 ounces of caffeine. I plan to give the pots 15 milliliters of water a week and record when each plant began growing. I would measure the stems in centimeters and compare them throughout the experiment. After 20 days, I would note the final measurements of each plant. The graph shows that plant 1, which was given no caffeine, showed its first signs of growth within day 4. The plant had a growth averaging about 0.12 centimeters a day. Plant 2 did not begin growing until day 9. I noticed that plant 2 was developing at a slightly slower rate than plant 1, with an average growth of about 0.06 centimeters. Plant 3 began growing on day 11 and had a daily growth of around 0.02 centimeters. Plant 4 began growing on day 15 with an average growth of about 0.01 centimeters a day. It is clear that the plant without caffeine grew the fastest. I also noticed that the plant given the greatest amount of caffeine had the smallest average growth each day. It seems to be that the more caffeine a plant had, the slower it grew. Caffeine is believed to lower the pH of soil. Therefore, I think that because plant 4 was given the largest amount of caffeine, its growth was remarkably delayed because of its low pH level. As for plants 2 and 3, I believe that although they grew at a faster rate than plant 4, they still had a somewhat stunted growth. I think this happened because even though they were given less caffeine than plant 4, their pH was also lowered to an extent in which it slowed their development. I can conclude that the caffeine did not speed up the plant's growth. In fact, it did the exact opposite. It seems as though that the caffeine had stunted the plant's development. Because of this, my hypothesis has been disproved. My new hypothesis is, if the amount of caffeine in the soil is increased, then the plant will grow at a slower rate.